Everything was fine until it wasn't. Today's stories are all about chaos that came out of nowhere. Story 1. The game night that ended in a police visit. I, 29M, hosted a game night at my apartment with a few close friends. We were playing a card game, laughing, having snacks, just enjoying ourselves. One of my neighbors had complained once before about noise, but it was a Friday night, and honestly, we weren't being loud, just talking and laughing. Around 10 p.m., someone banged hard on the door. I opened it, and it was the neighbor, 40SF, yelling that we needed to shut it down. I tried to stay calm and said we'd keep it down, but she wasn't having it. She said, "I warned you before, this is the last time." 20 minutes later, as we're wrapping up the game, there's another knock. This time, it's the police. Apparently, she told them we were having a wild party and throwing things off the balcony. The officer walked in, looked around, and clearly saw we were just a group of 6 people playing cards. But here's the kicker. While the officer was there, she stood in the hallway shouting, "Arrest them!" The officer told her to calm down and eventually asked her if she'd been drinking. She got even louder, and suddenly, they were the ones telling her to step outside. She ended up being escorted back to her apartment, still yelling. Game night ended pretty quickly after that. No one expected it to turn into a police scene over Uno. Story 2. The family BBQ that turned into a full-on brawl. My cousin, 33M, invited everyone over for a big family BBQ last summer. Everything was perfect, good food, drinks, kids running around. Everyone was in a great mood until my uncle, 55M, started talking politics with my brother, 28M. At first, it was just a normal debate, both raising points but keeping it civil. Then my uncle said something like, "Well, you're too young to understand anything real." That set my brother off. He stood up, got in his face, and called him ignorant. I tried to step between them, but it escalated fast. Out of nowhere, my uncle shoved my brother. My brother shoved back, and suddenly, other relatives jumped in, either trying to break it up or taking sides. Someone knocked over the table, food went flying, and kids started crying. My cousin, the host, was screaming at everyone to stop. His wife called the police because she was scared it would get worse. When the police arrived, people were scattered all over the yard. No one got arrested, but they told us all to leave. The family hasn't really gotten together since. That BBQ was supposed to be fun, but now it's just known as the day everything exploded. Story 3. The surprise baby shower that wasn't. I, 26F, planned a surprise baby shower for my sister, 30F. She's never liked being the center of attention, but I figured she'd appreciate it once she saw all her friends and family together. I booked a nice venue, got decorations, and told everyone to keep it a secret. The day of the shower, we all waited at the hall. She was supposed to come with her husband, who was in on it. When she walked in, everyone yelled surprise, and her face just dropped. She stood frozen for a second, then turned around and walked out. We all just stood there. Her husband chased after her. 10 minutes later, he came back alone and said she was going home. Apparently, she'd had a rough week, wasn't feeling great, and had told him she didn't want any big events. But he thought it'd still be okay. Half the guests left, and the rest of us just sat there awkwardly eating cake. I haven't heard much from her since. She sent a text saying she appreciated the thought, but didn't want to talk right now. Story 4. The prank that got me fired. I, 24M, worked in a small office where everyone played little pranks on each other. Harmless stuff like switching keyboards or hiding someone's stapler. It was a fun way to keep things light. One Friday, I thought I'd up the game a bit. My coworker, 27F, always joked about how she could never find her phone. So I took her phone from her desk, hid it in her drawer, and waited. She noticed quickly and started looking for it. I let it go for a bit, then pointed her to the drawer. She laughed, said "good one," and it was fine. Or so I thought. Later that day, our manager called me into his office. He said HR got a complaint that I was creating a hostile work environment. I was stunned. He told me the prank wasn't funny, and I was being written up. I tried to explain, but by Monday I was let go. Turns out, she told HR she felt targeted and unsafe. Now everyone at work is acting like I'm some kind of monster. Story 5. He ruined my new carpet in 60 seconds flat. I, 27F, just moved into a new apartment with fresh, light gray carpets. I invited a few close friends over to celebrate and keep it low-key. One of them brought along his cousin, 25M, who I'd never met. He seemed nice enough, quiet, Didn't say much. I offered drinks, some snacks, and everyone was just chilling. Not even an hour in, this guy decides to pour himself a huge glass of red wine. No big deal until he gets up, trips over nothing, and spills the entire glass on the middle of my brand new carpet. I froze. Everyone froze. He starts laughing. Laughing. He says, "Oh man, good thing it's not white carpet." I was trying to stay calm, but told him to get something to help clean it. He literally shrugs and says, "I'm not great with stains. I lost it." I told him to leave. My friend tried to calm me down, but I couldn't believe the guy didn't even apologize or offer to help. He just left like it was no big deal. I spent the rest of the night scrubbing the stain, but it's still visible. Now my friend says I overreacted and embarrassed him by kicking his cousin out. Story 6. She got fired because I didn't like my haircut. I, 31M, went to a new salon my friend recommended. The stylist, 26F, seemed nice. We chatted. I showed her a picture of what I wanted. Halfway through, I noticed it wasn't looking anything like the photo, but I didn't want to be rude. By the end, it was bad, uneven, way shorter than I asked. I politely told her it wasn't what I wanted, but I still paid, tipped, and left. Later, my friend asked how it went, and I told her the truth, that it wasn't great. Apparently, she told the salon owner because she used to work there. The next day, I get a message from the stylist saying she got fired because of a complaint. I never filed anything, just gave honest feedback to my friend. Now she's blaming me for losing her job and says I ruined her career. Story 7. He punched my TV after losing in a game. I, 25M, hosted a gaming night with some friends. We were all into this new fighting game and taking turns. One guy, 24M, super competitive, kept losing. He was getting loud but nothing crazy, until one match where he lost badly. He stood up, shouted "This game's rigged," and then out of nowhere, punched my TV screen. Cracked it. Silence. He just looked around and said, "I'll Venmo you." Left 5 minutes later. That was 2 weeks ago. He hasn't sent anything, and now he's ghosting me. Story 8. I told him to shut up during trivia. He left me at the bar. I, 30F, was at trivia night with my boyfriend, 32M, and some friends. He's the type who needs to be right all the time. One of the questions came up about history, and he loudly said the answer was one thing. I disagreed, quietly gave my own, and the group went with mine. I was right. He got really annoyed, muttering about how no one listens to him. Then the next question, I tried to speak, and he cut me off again. I snapped and said, "Can you shut up for once?" He stood up, said "Figure it out yourself," and walked out of the bar. Didn't talk to me the rest of the night. Left me there. Story 9. She said "I do" and then punched her sister. I-29F was at my cousin's wedding last month, and it was beautiful until it wasn't. Everything seemed perfect. She, 27F, looked stunning. The groom, 30M, was emotional, and we all teared up when they exchanged vows. Fast forward to the reception, and the bride's sister, 25F, who was also the maid of honor, got up to give her speech. It started sweet, but then she made a joke about how we all know who thought she'd get married first, and how back in high school she wasn't exactly loyal. Everyone gasped. The bride stood up, marched over, and without a word, punched her sister straight in the face. Right there in front of 100 people. The sister fell, the mic dropped, and chaos erupted. The DJ cut the music, people were yelling, and the bride stormed out in her gown. The reception ended early. Family drama exploded after that. Story 10. I sold his PS5 after he left me on read for a week. I-26F was dating this guy, 28M, for almost a year. He moved in with me a few months ago, and everything was fine until he just stopped talking to me out of nowhere. One day, he left for work, and then for a whole week, nothing. No texts, no calls, nothing. His stuff was still in my apartment, including his prized PS5. After the 5th day, I figured he wasn't coming back anytime soon. On the 7th day, I boxed up his things, posted the PS5 online, and sold it. That evening, he showed up like nothing happened, asking what was for dinner. I told him I sold it. He lost it, said I had no right. I said he had no right disappearing. He moved out that night. Story 11. He said he loved me, then stole my dog. I, 31F, broke up with my boyfriend, 34M, After a lot of arguments about life goals, we were done, or so I thought. We agreed to meet one last time to exchange stuff. I brought his hoodie, he brought nothing. But when I got home, my dog, my little pug, was gone. I panicked, called him, and he calmly said, "I took him. You don't deserve him. I lost it." Called the police, everything. After hours of chaos, they made him give my dog back, and now he's blocked everywhere. Story 12. I trashed his car by accident. I, 23F, was driving my boyfriend's 27M car while mine was in the shop. He has this beat-up old car he doesn't care much about, so I figured it was fine. I parked it at a grocery store, went inside for 15 minutes, and when I came out, it was gone. Stolen. I called him freaking out, but he just said, "Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the ignition's messed up. It's easy to steal." Long story short, they found it 3 days later, completely wrecked. He said I was careless for parking it in public. Leave a like and a sub, and we'll see us in the next one.